had an opportunity a couple weeks ago to tour the harvester plant, John Deere harvester plant up in East Moline, and yes, they have equipment that is sitting out there. It's ready. Interestingly, what a lot of it is waiting on is tires. And it isn't so much the chip. We've kind of gone on past the chip, but now it's tires are a big issue.
Everybody's putting in turf fields,
and it's that I think is concerning, certainly. And when you look at this equipment that is out there, that is available, and it is absolutely incredible. But then you look at the price tag of it, and it has to make you, as a producer, stop and think, in an industry where we don't have a lot of young people coming into the industry, is that something that I want to do, that I can afford to do, that I don't have family coming into the operation? Can I afford that equipment? And I think people are stopping and thinking twice about a lot of that. And yet, in order to produce the way we are able to produce now, you have to have those improvements, and I think that's incredibly important. And going back to what Ken said, part of the problem that we have, certainly in the state of Illinois, we're fortunate to have folks like Neil with a farm background in the Senate on the Ag Committee, and Dan certainly in the House. But both at the federal level and the state level, we don't have anywhere near the number of individuals in the legislatures, in Congress, that understand agriculture and understand what people are going through. And so it puts a burden. Fortunately, we have people like Lauren, but it puts that burden on the farm bureaus, the soybean association, the corn marketing. So that's where the voices are for a lot of our legislation.
Yeah, thank goodness we have Lauren, who is on deck here in just a second. Senator Neil Anderson, let's draw you in, sir. You've heard a lot of the discussion so far, and Representative Hammond pointed out about the young people. Gosh, I couldn't imagine going and trying to bid on a farm that I would like to add to, you typically add X amount of acres to your property, but $20,750 for someone to get started, that's pretty daunting.
Yeah, it is a daunting task, and especially here in Illinois, where we continue to, as government, we continue to come down hard on farmers and business owners and make it harder and harder. I mean, all the things we've discussed today we could be here for days unpacking all the things that have been discussed, but the overarching 30,000-foot view, and I'm of course oversimplifying it, but I mean, from things like the interest rates to supply chain problems to cost and inflation. Again, oversimplifying, but all these things are caused by bad government. And then we come into a thing, as Lauren mentioned, with a multi-billion-dollar subsidy being talked about for fertilizer because of a problem government created. Now government is trying to dig its way out. And there has to be a time where we have to have an honest conversation of when are we going to start backing away from government intervention and letting farmers and business owners do the right thing and let them control it? Or are we going to keep going down the road of crony capitalism with government intervention and massive inflation and trying to bail out problems of government over and over? And the one thing I think that hasn't been mentioned here today that is another issue is workforce. We can't find people to work, and I don't know if that's a cultural issue. I think a lot of it has to do, again, with government intervention. I mean, we're giving money out hand over fist to people to simply stay home. We saw it start during COVID, and it hasn't stopped. And I think that has a lot to do with it too. But I know any one of these guys here that are farmers are having trouble finding good people to hire. You go to any union shovel group shop, they can't find people to work. And again, this is a rabbit hole, and we could talk about it for days and days. But we've taught our young people that the only way you're going to be successful in life is if you get a 4-year liberal arts degree, and it's nonsense. We need to start teaching our young kids that aren't meant for college or don't want to go to college. You can go out right now and work for 150, or work for laborers, or work for a farm and make a good living, and you don't have college debt. But we've taught our young kids that the completely wrong thing.
Dwayne Bonifer, before we jump into the the Farm Bill, I'll give you a chance to address that. Coming from Monmouth College, you guys are seeing some shifts in liberal arts education and looking at agriculture as an important part of the future for the students that you have.
Yeah, I think that any liberal arts college that's worth its weight in salt has to be focused on the career markets, has to be focused on what the students and what the families want, what are they willing to pay for, what are they interested in doing beyond college. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it has to be a relevant education, has to be one that prepares students for a career in their regions. Higher education has to do a much better job than it has in listening to what our customers, I call students customers, and their families are interested in. And if we don't do that, then we can't be part of the solution.